Hello everybody, Jake here and welcome back to the hobby. We are on to episode 4 of the Pokemon card investing series. The series where we experiment with Pokemon card investing. I try to see if Pokemon card investing is a legitimate activity, something that you can actually do to outperform Pokemon card collecting, right? Investing has to do better than Pokemon card collecting for it to actually be meaningful, and so far I will have to say the results are really strong, that Pokemon card investing does outperform Pokemon card collecting. Now there's some caveats in that we've only been into this project for 3 or 4 months, so that's not really a long period of time. Pokemon card investing is something that you want to do for multi-years before you can really talk about the results. But so far the results are really strong in the favor of Pokemon card investing. So far, we spent a total of $20,840, and the total value of our collection is currently sitting at $30,151, which means we are up almost $10,000 from how much we've invested in. My goal for the whole entire year is to be up by 50%. And right now, as of April 2026, we are currently up 45%, which means I'm so close to reaching my year-long goal, and we're only 1 quarter into 2026. It's been a really strong quarter, and there are caveats in that. The biggest caveat is that these are not realized gains. The only way I can realize these gains is if I sell off my investment, cash out on it, and recover as much money as I can, and that's when I would say, like, okay, I've regained some of that profit. We're not doing that, which means if the hobby were to crash down in the next couple of months, let's say things cool off, let's say people sell off some of their cards, these gains might not be true, you know? This is a month-over-month period of time. It's very possible that in 7 months, I don't know, the market cools down to the point where it goes back to the prices where I purchased my cards from, and we don't realize these gains. So far, as you can see, as of March 2027, this is where I inserted all of my new cards that I purchased into the hobby. So since March 7th all the way till April 9th, all of this right here is unrealized gains. This is how much value my collection has generated from sitting around doing absolutely nothing. And I want to talk about how absolutely ridiculous and absurd the amount of gains this is. Because from March 7th till April 9th, which is the period of 1 month, my collection value went up by $6,000. That is $6,000 that was generated in 1 month that I did nothing besides sitting on my collection, right? That is insane. $6,000 is how much many Americans make in a month. Basically, my collection value went up by a whole entire human being's salary without me having to do anything. Someone who's working a very solid middle income family job is probably making $6,000 a month. And I made that value without doing anything. This is what makes Pokemon card investing so popular, right? It's so incentivizing. It's why it's grown in popularity. This is the big reason why a lot of people are investing in Pokemon cards, is that you can just sit around on a large collection. And I'll be honest, my collection is not that large. A $24,000 collection is tiny compared to many other people's collection. My collection's value went from $24,000 to $30,000 in a single month without me doing anything. This is why Pokemon card investing is so incredibly popular right now. And so let's talk about what's actually inside of my collection. What actually grew in value this month? For the period of March, some of the biggest gainers includes this Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX. I bought this card for $3,600 and it's currently valued at $4,700, which means it went up 31% in total value. The two other big winners, actually we have all of these cards are doing really well, but the Pikachu stamp promo card, this one did incredibly well. We bought it for $2,000 and it's currently sitting at close to $3,800, which means it almost doubled in total value. Same with the Cramorant card, if I can find it. There it is, the Cramorant card. I bought this card for $300. It's currently sitting at $800. So it more than doubled in value in the past 3 months. So really strong return so far on this card, as well as the Pikachu promo card. But none of these other cards did poorly at all. The Bubble Mew we picked up for $1,500 and it's currently sitting at $2,300. So again, a really strong return. That's a 50% return. That was our goal for this card for the whole entire year. By the end of this year, if it just retains $2,300, that's good enough. Like, that's all I want from this card is a 50% return, because you got to understand a 50% return year over year is already ridiculous. Like, that's absurd. The S&P 500 only goes up by like 8 or 10% year over year on average. So going up by 50% in 3 months is insane levels of return in the world of investing, you know. The Gengar VMAX, again, did really, really well. We bought this card for $1,600. It's currently sitting at $2,100, so that's a 34% return. All these cards did really, really well. None of these cards did particularly bad. The Lugia GX was another one that we did a really strong return on. We bought this card for $950. It's currently sitting at $1,600. That's a 72% return. The Rayquaza GX was another one that did really well. We bought this card for $700, so it doubled in value in the course of 2 to 3 months. That's insane. It doubled in value in 2 or 3 months. So we did a really good job picking up some really strong cards. Like, these cards were all calculated pickups. Now let's talk about some of the losers, because we do have some losers to talk about. Some of the biggest loser, the 25th anniversary edition Japanese packs. Sealed packs did really poorly the past 3 or 4 months. These have only gained around 7% in return, which means basically nothing. Some other ones like the Generations booster packs, these have not gained any value at all in the past 3 or 4 months. Evolving Sky sleeve booster packs, terrible returns over the past 3 or 4 months. Hidden Fakes booster packs, all of these did terribly. In fact, they didn't grow. They didn't go down, but they didn't grow. So let's talk about that a little bit. In a massive bull market like this, across the board, graded cards are the best return. In fact, the more prestigious the card, the better the returns, because some of the worst performing cards are the more middle of the road cards. You know, like, these cards aren't doing poorly. It's just that their level of return is nowhere near the high-end, most popular, prestigious cards. Sealed products, especially loose booster packs, are not climbing at all. I do think that they will climb long-term, but at a much more steady pace compared to anything else. So the best returning cards are pretty much our top 15 graded cards. Everything else is doing okay. And I still think the Victory Cup cards that I purchased in, which were considered a sleeper pick, were some of our best ones, because I'll tell you, I think these are still very underrated. The cheapest Victory Cup PSA 9 I can see on the open market is currently at $1,000, and the cheapest PSA 8 is like $500. So these have climbed way faster than I think Collector is currently having them listed at. But there are so few of them on the open market that it has to average down right now, but I do think these are climbing rapidly. So these are very strong pickup as well. So we're going to talk about what is the theme of April, because I did do some big pickups for April, and these are our largest pickups next, and I'm really excited to share these because the theme for April is high-end grails, and we absolutely picked up some crazy high-end grails. First up, for the investing series, we picked up an Alolan Vulpix and Vulpix Poncho Pikachu box. Obviously, Poncho Pikachus are incredibly popular. They are grails in their own right. And so one of the items we picked up was a sealed Alolan Vulpix and Vulpix Poncho box. I've been tracking this item for many, many years, and its rate of return is incredibly high. I picked this up from Kanto Shark, which is one of the marketplace that currently sponsors the Card Lounge podcast, the podcast that I do every single week. We picked this up for $4,500. The cheapest one I could find on the secondary market was $6,000. So I do think $4,500 is a very strong purchase. I do think Collector is currently lagging on the price point, especially for grail items, just because these are really hard to keep track of. So I rather use secondary market price. I would estimate the value of this to be closer to $5,000, maybe $6,000 right now. Good luck trying to find one below $5,000, but a really cool product. Maybe you can find one for below $5,000 at a vending show, but I do think the fact that I picked it up for $4,500 is still a really strong price point to pick up one of these boxes up. This is the last Poncho product that was ever released, which is why it's actually, even though it's only going for, you know, $4,000, it's still the cheapest of all of the Poncho Pikachu boxes. And it's climbing quite rapidly. I remember when Evolving Skies was released, this box was going for $400. So you can imagine in the time that Evolving Skies got to $2,400 a booster box, this thing went up to $4,000. So it's going up even faster than the best performing English booster box, which is really goes to show you how popular Poncho boxes are. And I do think that return rate is going to continue, is that this is probably going to outpace any English sealed booster box. So we'll see how well this thing does long term. I'm really proud of it. I do think that this is a very strong pickup. Now, next up, we got something that's even crazier. You may not be surprised about this because I did show it off at the Card Lounge podcast, and that is we picked up a Charizard, a Mega Charizard Y Poncho Pikachu box, also from Kanto Shark, and I picked this box up for a whopping $15,000, which is a lot of money, but it's a really strong price point that I got it at. Because as you can see, collector currently values you at $35,000. I think that's excessive. I think the true market price of this box is closer to $25,000. Now, I got a very good deal from Kanto Shark, but you got to understand, it was not a deal that was exclusive to me. This box was just priced on their marketplace for $15,000. Anyone, and I mean anyone, could have go onto their marketplace and purchase it for $15,000. I did not get a unique TwicebakedJake deal on this. Obviously, I made a calculated pickup that $15,000 is a good deal for a Mega Charizard Poncho Pikachu box, a sealed pristine one. But at the end of the day, that deal was open to anyone. And the deal that you get on these products on the initial purchase or buy-in is important. A lot of people have noted that in my previous video. I said, hey, Jake, a lot of the percentage gains that you're seeing right now was mainly due to the fact that I bought all these items at good deals. And that's something that everyone should strive for, is yes, you should be striving for good deals. I picked up this Pikachu stamp card for $2,000 3 months ago. That was a good deal then. It was a good deal to pick it up at $2,000. I picked up this Gengar Mimikyu for $3,600. That was a good deal in January. I would not be purchasing any cards unless they were good deals at the time that I purchased them at. But that matters less and less in terms of investing in the long term. Right now, it matters a ton. The buy-in price for any of these products matters a lot immediately because we're so close to the time of buy-in, right? On any given day, whether this Mega Charizard Pikachu box goes up $1,000 or $2,000, that's a huge gain right now because we're so close to the investment start. The longer the buy-in time, the less that matters, right? I bought my Mario Pikachu box for $200, but if I bought it for $300 or $200, right now it doesn't really matter that much, right? The overall impact of me buying it at $200 or $300 10 years later, it doesn't matter that much. As we do the investing series, I do think that the strike point, or the point where we bought all these cards at, matters less and less in the long term. Immediately, yes, it matters quite a bit, but in the long term, the express point at which you buy any of these cards will matter a little bit less. But at the end of the day, you should still try to strive for a good deal. There's no world where you don't try to get a good deal. So we're going to do our best to get good deals. I think buying the Mega Charizard Poncho box at $15,000 and buying the Alolan Vulpix Poncho box at $4,500 are both good prices. I think the market value of this box is closer to $6,000, and I think the market value of this box is closer to $25,000. So two really strong items added to the investing series. Poncho boxes are grails. I don't think anyone would disagree with me in saying that, oh, this box is a really prestigious grail, especially a sealed one. The Alolan Vulpix, a little bit less so, but it'll be interesting to track how this one does. Because it's at a much cheaper price point, it has a lot more room to grow, right? The Poncho box does not have a lot of room to grow. It can still grow because we know that there are plenty of six-figure Pokemon card products and collectibles. There are plenty of items like Gold Star cards and vintage booster boxes that are going for $100,000 plus. So this thing still has a lot of room to grow, but it's harder. It's harder for something that's $30,000 to climb. There's a little bit more room in the $4,000 or $5,000 range. So that's why I bought both of these, is that it showcases, hey, does the Alolan Vulpix outperform the Poncho Charizard because it's at a cheaper price point, or will the Charizard Poncho outperform the Alolan Vulpix just because it's a much more prestigious grail. So that's what we're answering in the long term. Overall, our collection is doing incredibly well. The total value of the Pokemon investing series is currently sitting at between $70,000 to $60,000, a really strong price point, mainly because of the addition of the Poncho Charizard box and the Alolan Vulpix box. Without these, if you ignored these two items that we just picked up, then the total return of the investing series so far has been 45% for the year, which is really solid because our goal for the whole entire year is just a 50% return, and we're at 45% return so far in April. I will be tracking the value of these two products because we got such strong price in points for these two. It'll be interesting to see how well they do long term. The ebbs and swings of these two are going to be wild. I think this box could go up, I don't know, like 50,000, but it could drop back down to like 10,000. So there is risk in this. Pokemon card investing is doing really well, but that doesn't mean there's zero risk involved. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on our pickups. Obviously, I have 10 years of experience in the world of Pokemon card collecting, so I've done really well based on my intuition and my experience in investing in Pokemon cards. I just know what I'm doing, you know, to pick good items, good deals. I can recognize when something is undervalued, but I'm not perfect, you know. If I was completely optimal, the only thing I would have picked up would be Pikachu and Cramorant. The only item that was the best performing was the Pikachu and Cramorant. But I'll tell you, there are other items on this list that I think is underrated. I think the Bubble Mew EX is on the same level as the Moonbryon, but it's currently half the price of the Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies. If you look at the population report, this thing isn't super far off from the Umbreon. So I really think these two should be priced the same, is that the Bubble Mew should be priced around the same price as the Moonbryon. And because this thing is currently half the price of the Evolving Skies Umbreon VMAX, I do think it's a little bit underrated right now, which is why I picked it up. Same with the Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX. I mean, Mimikyu and Gengar, incredibly popular. I think this card is a little underrated right now because its population report is significantly lower than the other popular cards from Team Up, like the Lovebirds, like the Tag Team GX Latias and Latios. So I thought this card was a little bit underrated right now. As an investor, as a collector, I wouldn't have picked this card up. I wouldn't have picked up this card because I don't like the art. I'll be honest, I think this art is a little bit weak. So as a collector, I wouldn't have picked it up. But as an investor, I can see that it's a underrated card, right? So that's where you gotta have the separation between a collector and investor, is what is the reason, what is the objective reason why I'm buying certain cards and obviously ignoring other ones. Again, I have a Poncho Pikachu box. I have this box already, so I didn't need to pick up another one. So again, if I was a collector, I would have never picked up this Poncho Pikachu box. I already have it in my collection, but I'm picking this up for my investment collection. So I'm separating who I am as a collector and an investor. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the series. Our returns are really, really positive right now. These are strong results. These are incredibly strong results. Better than I could have ever hoped for April. We've only been running this series for 3, maybe 4 months max. So the fact that we're already seeing these levels of returns is, it's ridiculous, honestly. Way better results than I could have ever hoped for. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.